Do we die? Well, let's start off with the other end of it. Were you born? Were you born? Okay, were you born, or is that a belief that you have? Is that a belief that you were born? Were you told that you were born and shown pictures to prove it? Yes. Yes. Now, I'm not saying that the video, you know, that your mother and father didn't have a video of you or photographs of you as a baby. Yes. I'm asking you, is that you? Or were you led to believe that's you? Were you told that was you? Okay. Did your parents tell you that was you? So have you been led to believe that you are that in the picture? Yes. Were you born, or is that a belief? Do you believe you were born? We're not making, now if you're starting to go, well, what's wrong with, we're not making, if you believe you were born, we're not saying the belief is wrong. We're not saying the belief is wrong. Okay, we're just inviting you to be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself, and to begin to start to see your beliefs as beliefs. Beliefs are so how many of you were told that there was somebody called Santa Claus? How many were told you this? Yes, okay. And how many of you believed for a time that Santa Claus existed? Be honest. Was it just me? Yes, here we go. Quite a few of us believe that Santa Claus is real. Okay. Beliefs. Yes. There are so I'm suggesting to you that beliefs are not reliable. Even the belief this is you in the picture. Now the same goes for do you believe you're going to die? Or is that a belief? Is that what you've been told? Is that what you've been told? You're going to die. Is that what you believe? Okay. And really, again, nothing wrong with the belief, but just to see it as a belief. So we are trained in beliefs. It is the culture. Rightly or wrongly, it is the culture. And we're trained to believe. The predominant belief, of course, is that happiness, peace, and contentment is something that we have to chase and go after and acquire. The predominant belief is that happiness, security, peace, and contentment and fulfillment is something we have to chase, work hard, go after, or learn and acquire. We are taught to seek happiness, security, fulfillment, peace, contentment in relationships, in objects, in substances, in experiences, in careers, and in becoming spiritual. We're trained to chase after and go after objects, experiences, relationships, experiences. So we're trained to seek in the world. And what's on offer here is to stop the seeking in the world out there and to turn within. Because I'd offer to you that deeper than the desire to seek, deeper than the desire to chase after, deeper than the desire to acquire or become, is the desire to know, is the desire to seek the source of who we are, is the desire to seek the source of who we are. That's what's awakening, is this desire is getting stronger. And this is the heart's burning desire, for the heart to know itself, to know that who and what we really are is love, is peace, is light. And the fundamental belief upon which all other beliefs get adheres to, all other beliefs adhere to, is the belief that we are a separate mind body. That we're a separate mind body from all other apparent separate mind bodies and all other apparent separate objects. That we're separate. This belief is at the root of all suffering and unhappiness and discontent. And whenever we turn within, and we show up to something like this conversation, all beliefs, including the most fundamental belief that we believe we are a separate mind body, begins to dissolve. All beliefs begin to dissolve. Not by trying hard, not by learning something, but because we're turning in the direction of the source of who we are. And as the belief that we are a separate mind body begins to dissolve, as the belief that we are a separate mind and body that was born and dies, as those beliefs start to dissolve, the experience that is undeniable, that is not an intellectual idea or concept, an undeniable experience that who we are is infinite and eternal, begins to become undeniable in our experience. The experience that we are eternally free, that we as awareness or consciousness or love, whatever is your word, was never born and therefore can never die, becomes the overwhelming, overriding experience that begins to infuse and transform all of the beliefs attached to I am a separate mind and body. So every time we meet, and whatever seems to be the topic of the reflection offered, or the focus of the question brought to the conversation, at the root, we are always turning within, and at the root of the exploration, there is a dissolving of the belief that we are a separate mind body. There is a dissolving of the belief that who we are dies. What does die are beliefs. And sometimes the beliefs will push back. Sometimes the long-held belief we have invested time and energy into maintaining will push back. And sometimes that pushback will be a resistance to this kind of conversation. It will be a resistance in the form of contraction, suffering. And yet that pushback is, if you like, giving feedback that there really is awakening happening. Okay, so that's the reflection on offer here today. And in terms of right now, depending on your questions and inquiry, we may return to death and dying and look at it from different angles too. Because always the conversation comes alive with your questions and sharing, whatever you'd like to share. In fact, sharing what you've been seeing in the past month. Sometimes as awakening happens, we begin to see things differently. And initially, it can sometimes be a bit disconcerting, at least disconcerting to the mind. And so to share, oh, this has been going on, and I'm not sure if you know, this is the direction of travel that is really what is clear and aligned. Yes. And so sharing what's been unfolding is a great conversation piece to bring for clarity. And your questions and sharing illuminate the intricacies of what's awakening for everybody here. So it's over to you, folks. If you're on the video, everyone's on video today, just click your microphone and you'll come in with your question.
Hi.
Hi, Isabel. Hi, Isabel.
As soon as death and what happens when we die comes up, I feel this incredible clinging to the idea of my dad, who died long ago, as a separate being. You know, it's like I'm super frightened of the idea of losing him as a separate wave. You know, it's like I could start to imagine me being part of the ocean and my wave dissolving, but his wave dissolving, no, absolutely not. I'm super clingy to that idea of, you know, somewhere there's a globe of light with his name on it, and that's him, and he's not dissolving, he's not part of the collective, he's still there. And it's so there's so much fear around that idea of even looking at anything different than him still being a discrete wave. It's really fierce.
Beautiful, beautiful. So much clarity that what is present here is clinging. What is present here is fierce holding on. Love it. Fierce holding on. And what is present here is fear. Yeah? So I love the clarity of seeing that is occurring here. Now remember, or maybe perhaps for all of you here, it's all in the seeing. It's all in the seeing. What's awakening is all in the seeing. So there is seeing clingingness. There is seeing fierce holding. There is seeing fear. Now, this kind of seeing is not with physical eyes. It's being seen within consciousness. Consciousness is seeing its own clingingness. Consciousness is seeing its own fierceness. Consciousness is seeing its own modulation as fear. Another way of saying that is the heart is seeing fear. The heart is seeing, fierce holding. It's all in the seeing. The dissolving of belief occurs in the moments and moments and moments of seeing. In the moment that fear is seen, in that moment, the fear is not being afraid of. The fear is being seen as opposed to being believed. It is being seen. In the moment it's holding, being seen, there is a dissolving of fierce holding happening. In the moment contraction is being seen, there is a dissolving of whatever belief is fueling the contraction. Happening. And for some beliefs that have been invested in for decades and a lifetime, there is a gentleness in the process of awakening. There's a gentleness of an erosion of belief. What's on offer here is not a dissolving of a belief of a separate light called Dad. Not a dissolving that equals a loss. There is what's on offer, a realization that that called Dad never left, never died. The mind will say, if I lose that sense of my dad as a separate light, I will lose my dad. This is the mind. Instead, it is the experience that your dad, and I'm going to use some Christian language here, is the Father. That's a Christian reference. Your dad is the Father. So if in fact there's a welcoming, there's a return of the light, and more than a single separate light, but there is a return, there's a connectivity to the eternal flow. There's not a loss occurring here, there's a return.